have extensive coverage of the breaking news happening tonight as part of I-35 is shut down at the Southwest Boulevard exit west of Pennway. Most of the lanes impacted are going northbound, and this is why. A semi full of hay caught fire and shut down all lanes of northbound traffic, water flowing over the interstate. And as you see right now, that stretch of road filled with hay and filled with water as well as crews work to make sure that fire is under control. It was carrying hay bales when it caught fire. Sky Tracker overhead. We have Captain Greg with us. Captain, can you tell us more about the backup this is creating and how this is impacting traffic?
All right, Kevin, let's take a quick look at this tractor trailer. As Brenda pushes in, you can see that one of the heavy wreckers is now trying to separate that trailer from the truck. Hopefully we won't have any more fire issues. Of course, Kansas City Fire continues to be on scene. This is northbound I-35 at the West Pennway exit. Traffic has mostly been cleared out, Kevin. The reverse flowed. There's traffic that was stuck here back to Broadway, back to Southwest Traffic Way, and now the Kansas officials have closed northbound I-35 at 7th Street. At 7th Street for northbound I-35 closure. The best way, guys, to avoid this, of course, is to take 635 northbound up to I-70 or 670, actually 670, and then take that into the city. If you can, avoid northbound I-35 on the south side of the city. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Captain. 41 Action News reporter Andres Gutierrez is live with an interview first that we know of the driver of this truck. Andres, how's he doing?
Yeah, he's okay, thankfully. Right now we are standing just feet away from that truck that was carrying the hay, driven by Darren Tripp. Mr. Tidd, just tell us what happened.
Well, I was driving down the road, and we're in stop-and-go traffic, and then this driver came around in front of me, waving me down, and I got up here and pulled off the road and seen my truck was on fire, and it's already too late to get the truck unhooked from the trailer. The fire was burning in between right at the back of my truck, and I couldn't get it unhooked to save my truck.
When you stepped outside, I mean, how many bales of hay were on fire?
Well, the very front of it.
So it started out front and then spread to the back of the truck?
Yeah. Yes.
And what was your reaction? Something that you can say on television.
Police don't know yet. We do know that MoDOT inspectors just got here. As Johnny said, the bridge is shut down. And
I know.
For a while, so they figure out what exactly.
Are you shaking right now? Has this happened to you in the past?
William Joy, KCMO 9 News.
Well, about 12 years ago, I was following a car, and the people threw out a cigarette, and it caught the very tail end of my truck on fire. Load of hay. That was about 12 years ago.
What do you think may have caused this fire this time around?
I don't know. Probably either a spark from exhaust or someone threw a cigarette out that was sitting beside me. One or the other.
Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Tidd, thank you so much.
I know the other time I drove over a cigarette, and you know, when someone throws it out in front of you, well, there ain't nothing. But I don't know on this one here. Like I said, the front of my load of hay was on fire, and so either someone threw a cigarette out or a spark from my exhaust, one or the other, but it's right at the front of the truck.
Right. Well, Mr. Tidd, thank you so much for speaking with me. Now, let me show you what we're seeing out here on the ground. That right there is the pumper truck that is actually acting as a connection to the hydrant that's below and bringing water onto that truck that Mr. Tidd was driving north to Liberty, making a delivery up there. Right now, they are working to put out hotspots because as they keep moving these bundles, these bales of hay, there is fire that is hidden in between the pockets there. And so Sergeant Bill Mahoney with the police department just spoke with me a short time ago, and the other issue you're having are up there in the roadway is that water is building up, and you have it cascading down here onto the ramp onto Pennway, West Pennway. So this, to give you some sense of direction, is where the 35 splits, where you can go north on Broadway into the 70 loops, or you can get down here to the West Pennway area. The vehicle you see right there with the flashing lights, that's the MoDOT vehicle. Engineers have arrived here, and they are right now going through the structure, through the roadway, to see if it is safe to reopen when they are able to. So right now, a very active scene there. It is unclear as to how long they will have this portion of northbound 35 shut down. The other problem out here is that when the fire actually did happen, you have this wedge in between the roadway and into the ramp, and the bales of hay actually on fire went down and caught a couple of other cars that belonged to some folks at a nearby tattoo parlor on fire. We spoke to them a short time ago. Here's what they had to say.
I was in the tattoo shop and I came outside and I saw my car on fire. I ran. I don't run, and I ran. And I kind of fell and just started crying because my car's on fire.
All right, so that was Chrissy there. She was at that tattoo shop just looking to get some work done when her vehicle caught fire. Had only had that vehicle since November, and now she is going to have to buy a new one. So again, police telling me that they are unclear as to how long this roadway will be shut down. We're still out here gathering more information. We'll have an update for you when we get it. Reporting live, Andres Gutierrez, 41 Action News.
All right, Andres, thank you so much. And as Andres just mentioned, MoDOT engineers just arrived on the scene. On the phone with us now, Markle Johnson with MoDOT. Markle, walk us through what the engineers are going through right now. I know they're inspecting the bridge. How daunting of a process is this, and what exactly are they looking out for?
Right now, they're looking to see checking to see if the structural integrity is still intact. As Andre mentioned earlier, some of the hail bays fell beneath the overpass, the bridge there, and those caught fire, and which, of course, caught some of the vehicles beneath on fire. And what that fire did is the intensity grew and grew, so we must check the structural integrity of the bridges underneath. And our inspector, she's been on scene maybe 15, 20 minutes now, so she is taking a look and making sure that it is safe to drive over. So that's the process right now, looking to make sure that the intensity of the heat didn't change any structure underneath that bridge.
Well, in addition to the heat, they're also dealing with the water there. You can see it's like a pool right there on that stretch of I-35. That's an area that really floods from time to time as well, Marco. What role will that play in reopening this bridge, getting to the water and seeing what kind of impact that has on everything at I-35?
It won't have too much of an impact. You know, when it rains, water tends to puddle anyway, so that won't be a major deal. Once they clear that water, it should be okay. But more importantly, it's the structural integrity of that bridge that we're mainly concerned with.
We know you guys have several cameras set up throughout the metro. Any idea on if any of your cameras caught this fire, caught the other car that was involved in this, the accident, if you will?
Well, I spoke to one of my coworkers who was in the Scout Center and saw it as it was happening. We may have caught it, but we'd have to go back and look. But there is a 50-50 chance that we did catch what happened. But just to warn you, we don't record any of our data, so it may have happened, but there's no way of telling.
We're understanding there may have been other accidents in that area. Do you know of any construction that may have also impacted this right here?
No, there's no construction in that area, and if there was, it was probably a moving operation, which means it'll be there for a second or two and then move on to another section. So I don't believe there's any construction in that area. I do want to let folks know that 7th Street is the exit that they would need to take to get around this. So as Captain Greg mentioned earlier, 7th Street is your alternate route, so be sure to take that exit.
And as you're talking about the structural integrity, as engineers will certainly make sure everything is safe and sound, because thousands, I do mean thousands, travel that stretch of road every day. Any rough timeline as to when this may reopen?
You know, that's a good guess, because initially we were told that it would be an hour to two, and until we get the okay from our inspector, it's just going to continue to be closed. So it just depends on how fast our inspector can get a good solid look at how that bridge is looking before we can reopen it.
Any reports on the bridge? Do we know how structurally sound it was prior to? Was it in need of any repairs? Was it on any list to have any construction done?
This is is a fairly new bridge. We rebuilt this bridge. I'm thinking off the top of my head, but I believe it was 3 or 4 years ago. So this is a fairly new bridge, so it's not on any list.
All right. Marco Johnson with MoDOT. No doubt we'll be in touch with you throughout the night as this story unfolds, and your engineers are on the scene just testing the structural integrity of this bridge, a bridge that so many people travel every morning and every evening to and from work.